Hey guys, if you don't know who I am, I'm Savia Rocks, and I help people tell their stories, stay inspired, and get educated as they find the pride of who they are within creativity, but most of all, without judgment. Join us as we talk about
You really want to leave a legacy, do something for mankind. Do something that's going to benefit not just your children, everyone else's children.
I think our job as humans is to become the person we were born and peel away the cultural stuff that was given to us, the trauma, like peel away the stuff that changed us or that was thrown on us or made us small or made us go off track.
The biggest thing I've always found is when people think they know so much, then they start knowing so little.
And I'm making the right choice, and I'm showing up for myself, and I'm showing up for what matters in life.
Sometimes I think that trauma doesn't always have to be a bad thing. I think trauma can help you make choices in your life that turn something that started bad into something beautiful. So guys, welcome to season 7 of the Us People podcast with Savia Rocks.
Hi, I'm Barry Levine, an old hippie who just happens to practice law, and you're listening to the Us People podcast with Savia Rocks, and she surely does.
I'ma get deeper, tables are turning, world in reverse, political burning.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Yes People podcast. I'm your host Savia Rocks, and today I am abundantly humbled to have Barry here. Barry is a hippie who practices law. See, that is awesomely cool, and he's laughing, I'm laughing. Barry, I want to thank you so much for taking your time to come on the Yes People podcast. How are you?
I'm doing fine on a rainy Friday here in Massachusetts.
Oh yeah, and it's Easter as well, so that's interesting too. Thank you so much, Barry, for coming on the show. So my first question for you, Barry, is could you tell me a bit about yourself, where you grew up, but also how that influenced you to be the person who you are today?
Sure. I don't know if anybody has seen the Saturday Night Fever, that movie.
Oh,
you know.
Yeah.
Well, that's the neighborhood I grew up in, by the Verrazano Bridge. I tell people that we spent our time stoned watching the people jump off the Verrazano Bridge, but I grew up there, a very nice neighborhood in Brooklyn. In case anybody's interested, that disco club used to be a comedy club before it became a disco club. I was there, I saw comedy there. And I had a lot of uncles who were lawyers. It sort of got me interested in practicing law at a young age.
Yeah.
Of course, Jewish kids, you're supposed to become doctors or dentists, but the sight of blood, it's just, it's not something I deal with. Give me paper and let me put stuff down for 10 pages and I'm good. And I wound up going to school. I graduated from high school at Fort Hamilton High School, which is at that part of Brooklyn. Went to the State University of New York, which is now Binghamton University in Binghamton, New York. Graduated there. And then I went to law school in Massachusetts. And if somebody would have told me I was going to be still in Massachusetts 47 years later, I would have said, you're crazy. But here I am. Can't get a good fatty corned beef sandwich, but it's a place to live.
Where would you be, Barry, if you weren't where you are now?
Well, I tell you, my wife and I have always loved San Francisco.
Oh, is that an option?
Well, no. See, the problem is when you're an attorney, all the good places like California, Hawaii, Florida, you have to take the bar exam again. If I wanted to go to Minnesota, hey, come right in. You want to freeze your tuchus off? Be happy. New York, I can go in a minute. But, California, and the thought at my age, granted, everybody said you should take the bars when you're young. at my age of sitting for another, I would do it as a kibitz. You know what a kibitz is? To play
talk to
around
me.
with. But I couldn't take it seriously. I couldn't consider going through the studying I went through before I took the bar. I mean, that was nonstop, which is something, I was never anybody who enjoyed studying.
Yeah, no, I understand that one.
Did work and did well. And one of my biggest concerns in taking the bar exam was my handwriting is horrendous.
They say doctors have horrendous handwriting. Doctors. They say if you have horrendous handwriting, you should be a doctor.
When I was in college and law school, because the professors would ask me to come in and read my exam.
Wow.
And, I could read whatever I wanted to.
That is true. That gives you an advantage.
Exactly. But, so I wound up getting involved when I was in law school. I got involved with an attorney who did debtors work, mostly representing debtors. And that's where I learned the stuff. I've been doing it now for over 45 years, for the most part, representing people who owe money, businesses, individuals. He eventually gave up the practice of law and started selling legal forms. He went by the name of the business doctor, had a great line of shit. But, I was working there for 5 years and I kept getting, yeah, Barry, one day this will all be yours. And, one day never occurred. And I walked out with most of an active practice. And, people nowadays, like, I don't know if they know me as the hippie who I never wear a suit either. That's the other thing. But my mother always said that when I get older, I wouldn't mind dressing up. I'm 72. I'm going to a cousin's daughter's wedding and have to get a suit. I haven't worn a suit in 5 years. I don't even want to think about it.
Better be a loose suit, Barry.
What's that?
A loose suit.
Well, no, see, I do have a suit, but I'd look like a loose suit. I could probably stand on a corner and with a cup and people would give me money.
Aww. Barry, let's talk about what you do in law. I know you spoke about bankruptcy. I know we spoke about it just before we even started recording. A lot of people may not. Obviously, we're in two different places, so London's law may be different to where you are.
The London, I have encountered it. I haven't been involved with it, but it's a different process than here. Filing a bankruptcy in the United States is a fairly easy thing. It's more a matter of looking, when you file a bankruptcy in the United States and in Massachusetts, where I am, you're entitled to certain exemptions and assets.
Okay.
There are federal exemptions, which are not necessarily as liberal as some state exemptions.
Yes.
And then there are the state exemptions. Now, Massachusetts, in particular, has something called a homestead exemption.
Okay.
And what that does is if you spend the $35 and you record this homestead, it protects up to $1 million worth of equity in your house.
That's cool.
So most people, what they're surprised is that, the example I usually use, but I don't know if you know anybody that played basketball, it's the guy who it was his ball, but he couldn't play. And you had to let him because he took his ball home. Trustees in bankruptcy don't look to sell assets if there's nothing in it for the creditors.
Yes.
Just because they can. So when you look at a person considering bankruptcy, you want to see what kind of exposure they may have from an equity exemption point of view before you consider filing.
Yeah.
And, aside from that, assuming everybody is, you can file their bankruptcy, it's mostly a matter of preparing a lot of paperwork, assets and liabilities, income and expenses. And, again, getting back to there's no such thing as a perfect world. Usually what takes time for people to file bankruptcy is the fee that attorneys charge to file a bankruptcy. Somewhere I have a cartoon that says, I'm filing bankruptcy. It's not cheap. Well, courts don't allow us to be creditors of our own debtors.
Yeah. So
in the case of filing I'm more than, generally how it works with us, like I said, perfect world, but I'm an inveterate cynic and I'm from Brooklyn, so there's no such thing. They pay us a couple of $100. We've been retained. At that point in time, we jerk around the creditors, for lack of a better word. Are they filing a bankruptcy? Yes, call me back in 6 months, call me back in 3 months. Because the fact of the matter is, suing most people, and it's probably the same in England, it doesn't get a credit of their money. It may get them satisfaction, but getting their money is a long, drawn-out thing because, and that's what people don't understand. Now, you owe me money. You owe Citibank money. So when you stop paying, the first thing Citibank is going to do is they're going, you know what nudging somebody means?
No, talk to me just in case the guests don't know.
Yiddish, it's to nudge somebody, to be annoying. The banks, if you don't make the payments, they used to wait 3 months, used to be the rule of thumb before they nudged you about a payment.
Correct. Yeah.
Now, because everybody is so kind and let me give them all my personal information, they give them their cell phone number, they give them their email address.
Everything.
So you're a day late. Now they start nudging you. You get emails, telephone calls.
Yes.
But they don't they want to get paid. And most people, if you don't have the money to pay them, you're going to ignore them no matter what they do.
True.
Thank God for caller ID. And I tell her, if my mother was alive, she should only know how lucky she was that there was no caller ID at this early. And so after the creditor itself decides that they're not going to collect, what do? And, when they send you a collection letter, at least in the States, and you probably have consumer protection laws by you,
yes.
Every letter says if you dispute the amount due, let us know in writing. Well, you have a printer, you have a computer, you make a form letter, you dispute the amount due. It doesn't cost you anything. It just buys time. Now here, they now have to send you copies of every statement they've issued you for the life of the account. I love it. But so now you get all that stuff and you still ignore them.
Yep.
Well, the next step is to send it to a collection agency. And all the collection agency can do is really nudge you some more because they can't file a lawsuit against you.
No.
And again, they'll send you that same letter because, we have very good consumer statute letters in the United States. They'll send you that letter that says the same thing. If you dispute the amount, send it to us in writing.
So you're just going to go around in circles.
You're getting my point.
Mm-hmm.
But then they have to go back to the original creditor to now get the information to send you the information you've already received again. So now you've ignored the collection agency because, they're in freaking Des Moines. I live in Massachusetts. Who cares? So now they threaten you and they send it to a lawyer. And occasionally they may send it to a lawyer in Massachusetts. But very often they'll send it to a lawyer in Illinois. Again, I live in Massachusetts. And that lawyer, before the lawyer files a lawsuit, has to send you that same letter again with the same opportunity to dispute the debt. Costs nothing. You dispute the debt. Now the lawyer has to go back up the chain and get all the bills, and now he'll send you all the bills. So now they finally file suit.
Right.
So let's say the lawsuit's in Illinois and I live in Massachusetts. I'm not going to lose a wink of sleep because it doesn't matter. They eventually have to come to Massachusetts to sue me either on their judgment or originally because this is where I live.
Yeah.
So now they file a lawsuit, and collection firms, you must have them by you. They must be called collection solicitors, because I doubt barristers do that stuff. And they send you get served the complaint. And if you decide to answer it, they next inundate you with discovery. Mm-hmm. And you know what discovery is? The interrogatories.
Yes.
Who wants to deal with that crap?
No, nobody.
A year or so down the road, they eventually get a default judgment against you. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what? Now the sheriff, really, they get a default judgment. They can put it in my drawer with all my other default judgments that I can wipe my tuchus with. They now send the sheriff to your house with, it's called an execution. And let's say the judgment is for $38,000. The sheriff gets there with the execution. You say, wait a minute, let me get my checkbook. But that doesn't happen. The sheriff goes back to the court with the execution not satisfied. So what's the creditor to do? There's a process in Massachusetts. It's like debtors court, where they haul you into court to inquire about your ability to repay. And, generally if I'm the debtor, that could be 2 years down the road from when I first heard from these people. Yeah. And then you usually file a bankruptcy to stop it. But, what happens if you go to that hearing is the judge will look at your financial situation and enter an order. Yeah, pay $25 a month for the rest of your life. The only time it can become a problem is, and lots of times, one thing about debtors is they like to be ostriches and stick their head in the sand. Maybe it'll go away, the world will end, who knows. In that situation, the judge issues a capias for their arrest, and the next thing they know, they're tooling down the Mass Pike and they're pulled over for speeding, and there's a warrant for their arrest. But, ultimately the filing of a bankruptcy itself, so now you file the bankruptcy, it pretty much ends the immediate aggravation because creditors now, they close a file. They become as aggressive as they can be before you file. Phone calls, call them their work and this and that. As soon as you file, it's like they're done. And so in the States, when you file a bankruptcy, they schedule what's called the Section 341 meeting, a meeting of creditors. I had a few of them this week. The trustees, whom I know for almost 45 years, I asked him to go early, and he wanted to know if any creditors were going to show up. And we both started to laugh. They don't. Because when you file a bankruptcy, unless you're Meshuggah and you file bankruptcy and you have assets that are, I can tell you about my client with the 1,800 Bitcoin in another day, who's in a bankruptcy, but it's going to be a movie. I may play myself.
I like this.
The trustees, in the 341 meeting, it says it's an assetless case. Basically, don't bother us. We'll call you. Don't call us. And the trustees in an assetless case, they get paid $60. And if they're it's not bad. You have 10 cases an hour. Boom, 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 boom. But, these are guys who bill $600, $700 an hour. They don't spend a lot of time on these cases. So what I often tell debtors is the anxiety of the meeting is a lot worse than the reality of the meeting because, usually the wait is longer than the meeting itself.
Yeah.
And I'm generally dressed like this at the meeting. So I'm very, very casual. Because, they're not out to, it's been a long time. I had a lot more hair back then when, there were games players. People who knew they could use their credit cards and then file bankruptcy and maybe do this and took trips. It's got to be over 30, 35 years now when most people, you're working one day and you're making $250,000 and tomorrow you're not working.
That's true.
You know from what I'm talking.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
and so, how do you keep those credit card bills that you can afford when you're making this much money?
Yeah.
Current when you can't.
Yeah.
And my feeling when I talk to prospective clients and people who are in this situation is you have to live. More important to put food on the table, gas in the car, or petrol, as you say over by you. Then pay Citibank or pay whatever bank you're paying. I mean, you know what I mean? It's and when you see nowadays, it must be difficult for people who are on, you have Social Security by you or something like so.
Like it's like a universal credit they have here kind of thing.
You see people who are on Social Security trying to live on $1,200, $1,400 a month. I mean, I don't know what expenses are by you, but it's ridiculous.
Yeah, they are ridiculous here. That you just said $1,200. That's some people's rent a month here.
Oh, here, thank God for a lot of people. They're able to get into elderly housing in a lot of the cities and towns, because otherwise the rents in Massachusetts are insane. I mean, you don't even want to know.
I do want to know because here, even I have a neighbor, for example. I know you said $1,200 where you are, and that has to help people a month. But we have £1,200 or something like that, £1,200 or whatever, and that's someone's rent a month or even more.
Rent here. In fact, the interesting thing is when you file a bankruptcy, because the other kind of bankruptcy to a Chapter 7 is a Chapter 13.
Understood.
It's called a wage earner plan.
Yes.
And for the most part, that's income derived.
Yes.
Based on your household size and how much money.
We have Sitting Advised Bureau, which is something similar to yours.
So for instance, a household of 4 in Massachusetts, if you make over $178,000, you'd have to concern yourself with a Chapter 13.
Understood.
If you don't, you're a Chapter 7 candidate.
Okay.
But the thing is, everything from a bankruptcy point of view is tied into IRS statistics, which is very often, as my father used to say, if he had wheels, he'd be a baby carriage. Because I've had people where, and you use those IRS statistics, bankruptcies, if you do, people who owe money to the IRS, can do what are called office and compromise, which says, I owe you $200,000, but you're never going to get it. I'm paying you $5,000. It's a little more complex than that, but by and large.
I get it.
Right. And now I've had some success with discharging student loans, which historically non-dischargeable. The feds are looking at it as more of like they do with the office and compromise, looking at it more as a creditor. Should I take money? Am I wasting my time looking to collect these student loans?
Yeah.
And they all use IRS statistics. Okay. The rent where you live in some town outside of Boston is only supposed to be $1,800 a month, but the borrower, the taxpayer, is paying $3,200 a month. And again, we mentioned it is what it is. Yep. It is what it is. I wish I was, it's like when the banks call me because they think it may not be me who's using my credit card. I wish it wasn't me who was using my credit card, but it is. Yeah. So why are you bothering me?
And that's the hard thing, because obviously, as I told you what happened to me, it's it becomes hard in the sense of knowing what to do and how to do it. And I decided, like you said, Barry, to let things be. You have to concentrate on the things that are important in your life and just get on with it, because at the end of the day, you don't die with anything materialistic, and that's it.
That's why, I've a lot of reasons for people going bankrupt are divorces. Lose a house, lose a this, left with that, left the other thing. And I never understand when you see situations where the divorce is 10 years old and they're still killing one another.
What?
The animosity just doesn't go away. So I don't understand it, to me. Married 50 years, what can I say?
10 years.
Oh yeah, people, when somebody a grudge, it's you can't. It's hard to quantify.
No, come on, no, Barry. That has to be. I know you're speaking out of, seeing these things, right? A 10-year grudge against someone is serious. That's not lightly taken.
Around, it's like here when we have a lot of snow.
Mm-hmm.
And people in the urban areas like Boston that packed in, they shovel their cars out so they can go to work. They put chairs or space holders in their spots. So when they come home, the spot will be there.
Yes.
If you dare park there or take those things away, I don't want to say what's going to happen to your car. There's certain, to me, I don't get it, but that's, they'll kill over less here. I mean, please, you take, they spent all that time shoveling. Whew. That's why I always let the snow melt. Sometimes I don't drive the car till May, but
Whoa. So I remember you were talking about people being able to buy, is it shares in bankruptcy, if that's correct? Did I say that
Well,
right?
no, actually it was debt.
That's the one.
Debt is a commodity that is bought and sold. I mean, very often, when there haven't been any big Chapter 11s lately, but you'll find that creditors who are involved as creditors of Chapter 11 debtors may approach them to buy their debt for short dollars, figuring they'll get more money in the plan. But what we were talking about is there used to be, and I think I haven't looked in a while, there was a website, and I'm sure there are others, where if you like to gamble, you could buy debt for 10 cents on the dollar. Pick your state, pick your amount. You're buying it as is, pig in a poke. You don't know who these, like I was saying, we maybe had mentioned that when a debt gets charged off, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
What happens is the bank very often sells that charged off debt with a portfolio of other debts. They'll sell it to you, for 10 cents on the dollar. And then, it's sort of annoying if you're in bankruptcy, 2 or 3 years later, you get a letter from some yutz who has no clue what's going on. And we just purchased this $15,000 claim, and what do you intend to do about it? And they usually call me, and I have a very nice letter that tells them where they can go. But, well, that's the same thing. I mean, I don't know if you have it I don't know if I've read it, but, we have these, what do they call them? Zombie mortgages.
Zombie mortgages.
Only come out at Halloween like Brigadoon. I mean, I stood there waiting for Brigadoon. It never came back. The zombie, and I've had a number of cases. See, people don't realize that mortgages don't go away. I can transfer my house 1,000 times, but unless one of those times has a discharge of the mortgage along the way, it's all subject to that mortgage.
Yes, correct.
And what the zombie mortgages are, I think there was a song. It was also a group, but I don't want to date myself. Didn't they do She's Not There, the Zombies?
I'm going to write that down.
Your listeners, they must know from this stuff. The British invasion. See, I said I'm an old hippie who practices law.
I like this.
And so the zombie mortgages are people, let's say, went through a bankruptcy, and somehow whoever represented them told them that everything was discharged. So now the years go by, they own a house. At the time they filed, had 2 mortgages on it, and now still has 2 mortgages, but they only know from the first mortgage because they haven't heard from the second mortgage in 10 years.
Right.
And suddenly the zombie mortgage surfaces. 10 years, the mortgage is still good. They may not be able to collect the debt. The debt may be expired, but that's a law school question. But the mortgage is still an encumbrance on the property. And what are you going to do about it? You know, it's like, here we are. We got this $50,000 mortgage that you forgot about.
Hey, how you doing?
And with accrued interest, it's now $175,000. I had a nice couple. They came to me. Very nice spot. They own this house. They were subject. He went through. I had nothing to do with it because mortgages don't go away. But their attorney at the time, who did the bankruptcy, and this had to have been at the time 13, 14 years ago. No problem. He got the first mortgage, which they kept paying, and don't worry, the second's gone. And suddenly the second sends them a notice, we're owed $90,000, remember us. And they're now, what's her name? Elizabeth Warren is trying to, because to me, under certain circumstances, like if a mortgage in Massachusetts is more than 35 years old, and it hasn't been paid in that amount of time, from a title point of view, it can be non-existent.
Okay.
But if a mortgage is, 12 years old and something like that, it's still a mortgage. And, it's a problem. Now they're faced with, like this poor guy, in order to file a Chapter 13, he would have had to pay off that second mortgage in 5 years because it was already due. And he couldn't do it. So right now, I hope he's still saving, putting the money aside, hoping for the day when they come, he'll have enough money to pay them.
I was just about to say that.
No, it's a shock to the system.
It's a
I can tell you from my own personal experience. My wife and I, we were young. We bought our first condominium. Life is wonderful. Life is grand. And we did a refinance. And we find out that it was in tax title taking. So what he's talking about? The prior owners got the tax bills and threw them in the garbage.
What?
Hey, people are... You don't want to know what people are.
Yeah. Oh no, I have a few. I have.
No, it's like you would think that, it's like somebody, occasionally you'll send something to the wrong address and the person who got it delivered didn't even say thank you. They know it wasn't for them.
Yeah.
The chocolates were great.
Yeah. Yeah, I know exactly how it is.
But that's, the zombie mortgages is sort of like the buying the debt. I mean, that's usually how it surfaces, is that now somebody buys that mortgage who decides to become proactive.
Yeah, because they want the money for it. So then,
because the other thing that happens around here too is, people don't pay attention. That's just the way of the world.
If it's not important to them at that time, they're not going to pay attention. It's simple as that.
And judgments will enter against them. And then the same thing like the zombie mortgage and buying the debt. A judgment is good for 20 years.
I didn't know it was that long, but yeah.
In Massachusetts, right? Probably as long in other places.
Maybe.
So now somebody buys the judgment for short dollars, and they're going to be aggressive. A judgment is a judgment.
That's deep.
Have I said it is what it is? I mean, that's exactly what all this stuff is. It is what it is. The only thing you can really do is try to protect yourself against this sort of stuff.
What are the best ways, Barry, to protect yourself from your perspective?
Is to sit down and look to see if when the shit hits the fan, what you can lose, and protect against that. There are ways, if you have a business or something and you borrowed money from family, to make family just like any other creditor. Why should they take a back seat? Granted, they have a longer period of time called a preference because they're insiders, but if they lent you money, if you had somebody who has a friendly mortgage on your house or your business, it gives you other options if the shit hits the fan. What the problem with most people is they wait until the shit hits the fan and then
it's too late by then.
You can do it all. You can do it. They say, "Oh, I conveyed the house for love and affection last week." It doesn't pay. If you're going, I think the creditors don't like the term pre-bankruptcy planning, but that's what it is. If you don't engage in that, you don't know what's going to happen.
That's true.
And like I said, trustees, yes, they get $60, but if there's equity that can be recovered for the creditors, they get a commission plus legal fees, plus the $60.
That's why you say doing bankruptcy costs money.
Well, not so much that whether you do a Chapter 7, a Chapter 13, or a Chapter 11, even, no bankruptcy attorney is going to file the case and be owed money. So it usually costs a varying degree of a retainer up front. Yeah. Chapter 13s and Chapter 7s are around the same vicinity. I usually charge around $2,500. In a 13, there's another $2,500 doing in the plan that they have. Yeah. But Chapter 11s, can run a retainer from 5, 10, 25, 50. It can cost a fortune. And the thing is, 9 out of 10 Chapter 11s don't make it past the first year. Wow. And again, are you a gambler? The only ones who make money are the lawyers. Not that I'm averse to that, but... No, seriously. I mean, I was involved in a Chapter 11. The company franchises juice franchises. That healthy stuff that I wouldn't go near, but that's okay. And
fair enough.
We got out of the. He was in a Chapter 11. And the legal fees, and this was just a little company, has like 23, 24 franchises based here, 2 employees. The legal fees involved in this Chapter 11 then went on for a little bit more than a year.
Oh, boy.
For $120,000. And that just wasn't all me, unfortunately, but yeah.
$120,000.
And then if you look at some big Chapter 11s, because some of these big firms, they do interim fee applications.
Yes.
It's in the million. It boggles my mind, but it is what it is, right? What are you going to do about it? Companies need to reorganize. They have to have a way out, and if you're a giant, Chapter 11, the price is commensurate with the size.
What are some? I know you can't disclose names or anything, Barry, when it comes to your cases that you have. But do you have any stories in regards to a case that you're allowed to share? Oh, I know he's smiling now. He's
Well, no,
smiling.
actually, the most interesting case I have now is the guy who's in a Chapter 7 who owns 1,807 Bitcoin. On paper, he's worth 160, whatever Bitcoin is. Do the math.
Yeah.
And it's a very interesting story because it's 15 years ago already. He was at a Hanukkah party and got wasted with his brother.
Okay.
And wound up buying $60,000 worth of Bitcoin. And when his wife is a natural-born Greek lady, when she found out about the purchase of the Bitcoin,
Oh boy.
he sold the Bitcoin the next day. And I guess a year later, he did the same thing with his brother, and he forgot all about the Bitcoin. And then in the middle of this saga, he was involved with he does real estate development. He was involved with somebody. They were going to go into business. It never came to pass, but the guy ran through the accounts that they were going to use, $30 million in his name. Then he had somebody work on his laptop computer that the guy had used, evidently.
Oh wow, this one is
The
not
guy
covering
who
himself.
worked on it said to him, "Ever do anything with Bitcoin?" And he had forgot because the Hanukkah party with the Safganyot, that was 12 years before. Who remembers? And fine, guy leaves, comes back to work on his laptop again,
Yeah.
and tells him he found the Bitcoin on his laptop. The other guy who stole his identity must have dabbled in Bitcoin, and it was on the laptop.
Oh no.
So now the good doobie who told him about the laptop, the Bitcoin, he took the Bitcoin and is holding possession of it and hasn't turned it over.
Oh my gosh, this is drama.
And hey, if you know anybody, there's going to be some the right title and interest to 1,807 Bitcoin offered for sale in a bankruptcy. You could be buying air, but again,
Hey, I might buy a few, Barry. Let me know where and when.
I'll send you it's a very interesting case because he only has $5 million. He has less than $5 million worth of debt, and his estate is worth $160 million.
Barry, send me the link. Send me the link.
No, that actually it boggles the mind. It really does.
Hey. Yeah. That book, you know, when you have so much and you
put on the GoFundMe page and start.
I need a GoFundMe page.
Oh,
I need a GoFundMe Savia page.
If you watch American Greed,
oh yeah,
you'll see the episode. You probably heard about it by you. The woman who claimed to come upon a homeless person.
What?
Outside of Philadelphia.
No.
Oh. And they set up a GoFundMe. They raised $600,000. Some ridiculous. All bogus. They were all, she, her husband, and the homeless guy, they were all in it together.
That's some bullshit. Sorry.
See, I happen to love stories like that.
That is, that's it. Savia GoFundMe page, here we come. Barry, you're going to help me. Yeah.
Listen, I'm convinced that nowadays, and I think we have to move along soon, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that it's all bullshit. If you have a good enough line of bullshit, you can sell anybody anything.
That is true.
When I was young, I was in second grade. I was selling my father's blank checks in school, and I was also selling 8.5 by 11 yellow pieces of paper that said from the office of the principal on them. I made a few. I had a secretary.
Had a secretary.
I made second grade. I made some money. And then the principal, whose name happened to be Mr. Levine, called my father the principal, Mr. Levine. And my father said, instead of shutting him down and being all over him, you should be commenting for his ingenuity.
I'm not going to lie, I've done a few things.
I was selling blank checks for 50 cents a piece.
It's not bad, Barry. I remember when I was in primary school, I was doing something, not blank checks, but I was doing the sweets and the so on and so forth and other things, and people were buying them. I was like, yep.
Yeah, but at least you were giving them value. But what can you do with a blank check? Make a paper airplane?
You can make people feel good. Look, people do it now for manifestation. They get think about it, right? So you were doing it when you were younger by selling, even if it's 50 cents, a blank check. Now people are doing it because they want to manifest whatever they want. So you're giving a service.
Well, it's like practicing law. We're really salespeople.
There you go. That's what we are. It's just being able to talk the talk and literally walk the walk.
It's like a good friend of mine, what he used to call, when they paid him, he used to call it a successful fiectomy.
Wow. That's different.
Well, no, and the other thing, I actually had the situation when I was a young lawyer and the client didn't show up with the money. You would say to the judge, Your Honor, Mr. Green failed to appear.
Uh-huh.
Everyone knew who
Mr. Green was.
And over the decades, people stopped using it. And I had a situation in the bankruptcy court where it seemed that my client needed a criminal attorney. And the judge wondered what happened to his criminal attorney, and Mr. Green failed to appear. He understood.
See, this happens very often. It happens.
The thing is, when you're a young lawyer, I remember, I still regret opening the door to this asshole. He lived across the street from me, across the hallway in the apartment that we lived in.
Mm.
And he was involved with a guy. Have you seen those touch balls? The electronic, right?
100%.
He was involved with a guy who developed them.
Okay.
Like a first. Unfortunately, this guy thought he was Michelangelo and didn't want to go into what's the store and the malls here that sells all that shit. I can't think of it. And then I was involved with the neon, the plastic neon, all sorts of weird stuff. And here I am. You can see how it all came to pass. I was better off selling the checks.
Well, you know what? Like we say in the beginning, same way with me and my story when I first told you. Yay! When you're there for a purpose. Once your purpose passes, that's it.
Hopefully, you're still respiring after your purpose passes. They can just say it's over.
Do you know what? If it doesn't kill you, Barry, you just move on. That's it.
Oh. I have to tell you, I was always one of those. Nothing ever. I don't sweat much. My wife can tell you the problem with that. And when I took the bar exam, now I took all sorts of exams. It's just an exam. Worst you can do is fail.
There you go.
They saw me sweating at the middle day. They got worried.
Yeah.
But again, here I am.
Barry, you're fine. You're completely fine. You're living a good life. You're living a good life. You're chilled. You wear the clothes that you want to do. You're relaxed. Look.
Yeah, but I tell you, the smart one was my brother, who went to veterinarian school in Pisa.
Ah.
And still lives in Italy. And my parents supported him until he was 38.
What?
I got married when my wife and I got married. We went to California. Now in New York, 18 was the drinking age.
Right.
If it was old enough to die, and now I'm old enough to drink and all the shit. And we went to California on a honeymoon. Jane wasn't drinking age. She couldn't get a drink out there. She wasn't 21.
Oh, that's so mad. See, hair is 18. Hair, you have to be 18, but you know, we do it when we're 16.
Well, in where is it? In Italy, you can drink wine almost at any age, but I think there's a limitation for hard spirits. Like
Yes.
Stuff.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I usually go green. That's what I tell people.
You go green, Barry.
That's right.
That's the hippie. That's the hippie in you.
Well, no, I was, it pissed me off when they let the Vietnam vets into the dispensary before me. I was in the first dispensary. I was the fourth person into the first dispensary in Massachusetts. And I got interviewed by one of the local news people, and I said, it's like being a pig in shit.
That's a good way to put it.
Hey, listen, times have changed when you consider that if I drive from my house to the office, my office, which is about 13 miles, I pass at least 8 dispensaries, most of which only have the employees' cars in the parking lot, but that's another story. Mm-hmm. And then 4 or 5 signs for the Encore, the casino. If you woke up from a coma, you wouldn't know where you were.
Yeah, that's true.
Dispensaries having pot delivered.
I feel okay. I've got some stories, but that's another podcast.
You used to have to wait. You keep calling. Did it come in yet? Is it here? Did it get here? Now you're in need. You go to this, and if you're lazy, you get it pre-rolled. Yes, you do. That's true laziness.
That is true. But now they have these things where you can just do it. I shouldn't be showing it.
What, the inhaler?
No, not the inhaler. They have this thing where you put everything in and it like literally does it for you. Like literally, it rolls itself. Literally. Barry, you need to get one.
Well, but I watch some of the shit these young kids do before they take, everything now has a moon rock, and they do this and that, they wind it around and all this other crap. And you can't see his picture here, but a friend of mine, we used to get high and play basketball, and then we go to the diner. It was our routine.
Yeah.
And I said to him, we'd be on our second order of eggs by now. By the time they're finished making this stupidity, who needs it? But I use something that actually enhances the, I'm sure your viewers, listeners are loving this, that enhances the THC content.
Oh.
It's a decarbolizer. It's a local Massachusetts company makes it. And what you do is you put the youngsters refer to it, leaf through it, and it processes it. It enhances the THC content. Mm-hmm. And then what I do, there was a publication, an album from many, many decades. You could write this one down too.
I'm going to write down.
A Child's Garden of Grass.
Cool. Say it again, Barry.
A Child's Garden of Grass. Like if you had the album, my wife had the album, I had the book. If you had the album, it did a fade from one speaker to another, like somebody who was stoned and you're listening to this, But it also had a recipe for cooking pot.
Hey.
And you just take the leaf, throw it in a frying pan, and cook it. That's it.
See, guys, you're getting taught how to do this on the Yes People podcast.
Like from an old hippie who happens to practice law.
From an old hippie who practices law. You know how to smoke weed now.
If anybody wants, I have T-shirts that say Cannabis Adventures. The likeness looks a lot like me.
Oh, don't tempt people to get them from you because they will, Barry. Believe me.
Oh no! It was a good idea. See, I decided that when they were first opening up dispensaries in Massachusetts, taking people on cannabis tours. They have them now, and they must do the same.
sure they
the same
do,
thing
yeah.
by you. You go on a bus. The bus has enough smoke in it. You don't have to leave the bus, and I thought this would be a great idea. But between the time I created Cannabis Adventures, great like this of me, and the dispensaries came to pass, it was yesterday. It was gone. The first dispensary opened up like 5 years later. It was ridiculous. So you have to, And on the other hand, for the listeners, it's still cheaper on the street, but you didn't hear that from me.
And on that note, we'll end it there. Barry, I want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Next week, we're going to do how to use a hemostat.
Oh, man, Barry, I would love for people to be able to find you. Where can people find you, Barry?
You can find. Well, I actually have a YouTube channel. It's Bankruptcy Through the Looking Glass.
Ooh.
I have my own YouTubes there, and I have things where I've guested. I rail about bankruptcies. We have very interesting conversations. I think I'm also on TikTok. I have no idea. You can probably find me there, but it's technology. I had an Atari 400. This new stuff. What do I know?
Oh wow, that's old school. Yeah.
And real old school. Let's play Missile Command.
Cool.
And I have a book on Amazon, Bankruptcy Through the Looking Glass, and you can always just email me at barry@levineslaw.com.
I like that. Barry, I want to say thank you to you so much.
Hey, this was fun.
It was fun. It took us a while, but it was fun. We're gonna have to do part 2.
They should only look at my eyes.
Actually, yeah, for real.
Well, my glasses are pink. Purple. Nobody notices.
No, you got good color. That's my favorite color, actually, purple. So.
Well, actually, everything in the office, all the files are purple. Everything is purple.
You even have a light. You have a light behind you, right?
Well, that's how old are you? If you don't mind me asking.
43.
Oh well, you're a little older than the plant. My aunt and uncle gave this to me when I opened my office 38 years ago.
Oh wow, so it's close
and
enough
through
to.
benign neglect. And my assistant Kathy and we actually had somebody come to my office to repot it because I wouldn't go near it.
What?
It's still standing, and it's grown. In fact, somebody at an attorney at the 341 meeting mentioned the grow light, and another attorney friend of mine who is he does cannabis dispensary liquidations. They have a special process for that in Massachusetts.
Oh, we're going to have to talk about
that one. It was
one.
very entertaining when the trustee referred to me having a grow light behind me, because he knows me.
This is cool. Whoa, that plant is almost the same age as me.
And, I really should decide, my wife and I just have one Bernedoodle left, and it's, I don't know who it should be willed to.
Hey, keep the plant. It's cool.
Plus all my tchotchkes.
Yeah, that looks cool.
And more importantly, the Quaalude jar, as I mentioned before.
Yeah, you did.
And actually, you know what? See, your listeners are learning all sorts about drug culture now. In the 70s or 80s, no, it must have been the 80s. Those were the Coke days. McDonald's coffee stirrer was a perfect Coke spoon.
What?
You don't remember?
Is it the little plastic ones?
The little plastic one, and it had a little
yeah, it had a little thing on it. Yeah, I remember. Why are you teaching me about Coke, Barry?
But they stopped distributing them.
Yeah, because of that reason also.
But I have it in the Quaalude jar. I do tours Thursdays and Fridays if they want to come. Hey, for your listeners, as us old Jews say, sei gesund, which means stay healthy, everyone.
I love that. And this is where I say to you guys, thank you so much for listening to the Us People podcast. And please remember, you can subscribe and leave us a review on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, and any other platform that you prefer listening to. And this is the most important part, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Stay happy, stay positive, and as always, please, from me and Barry, continue to be kind to one another. Take care.
I'ma get deeper. Tables are turning, world in reverse, political burning. Where is the love? Where is the hope? Where is the faith inside? It's been misplaced, power being misguided. Manipulation used for both sides. Unjustified violence. You living it up in your kingdom where you're using
We're
the
good, Barry.
God that wants
Did
to
you talking about that Stay Happy song? Do you know what the Mandela effect is?
The Mandela effect.
Oh my God. You don't know what the Mandela effect
No,
is?
tell me.
It's like things such as, I believe it was the Berenstain Bears, but it's the Berenstain Bears.
Okay.
People think Mandela died in prison in the 1990s when he was still alive in the early aughts.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And what you just mentioned when you signed off is one of the Mandela effect. If you look it up, it's I don't know if you like this sort of shit. It's a fascinating subject.
Oh, no, I love reading everything. So for me,
It's people's recollections of something that, like John and Yoko, where they had their bed in.
yeah.
I'm convinced it was Toronto. Other people think it was in Montreal, and I think it was maybe Paris. And that's the nature of the Mandela.
Devil smile in my face. Your hidden agenda ain't really about peace. Your hidden agenda ain't really about love. How do you breathe and how do you sleep? I guess it's a lie you've been telling yourself.
The lies we see through the darkness and the blurry lines. I'm about to dive in deep. The wheels are spinning. Globes in rewind, political ablaze. Where's compassion? Where's the love? 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 Where is the love? Where is the hope? Where is the faith inside? How do you breathe and how do you sleep? I guess it's a lie you've been telling yourself. Get deeper. Tables are turning, world in reverse, political burning. Change the status quo, the sins of your fathers, ripping through time, we live in it, breathing.